You're listening to the Burnt Offerings podcast, a show about cigars, friends, faith, and general tomfoolery. Do not take these guys too seriously. Now grab a stick, settle in, and let's set fire to foot. This is Burnt Offerings.
Okay, friends, welcome. Welcome to the Burnt Offerings, another episode here. This is Jason. I'm that voice that you sometimes hear in the background, where the other three know a lot about smoking cigars. I just tell you random stories that you wish that you didn't hear.
And boy, do we look to those things tonight.
But by golly, do I make you laugh. You're welcome, America. There you go. And I'm joined here by my great friends. Old Paddy Wagon.
It's good to be with you, Jason. It's good to have you back.
Stephen the King Cole.
Okay. All right. Old King.
Ryan, Rhino, the Sherpa of cigars.
Jason, I'm so glad you're out of timeout. Welcome back.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he was in timeout last
Yeah. You all didn't know. I apparently too much profanity in 1 week, and the FCC said I had to step away for several episodes. But I'm back
that's
now.
Definitely what we said you were in timeout for.
But we are glad to have you with us this week, and want to let you know for this episode, you may not know this, but you are in the room with 4 dads. And so listen for all the good old father chatter throughout this episode here. But I'm going to throw it to one of my favorite dads, old King Cole, to tell us, Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
What are we smoking this week?
Hey, Carl.
Stephen Colbert.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, Colbert.
King Cole was good.
King Cole. The Megilla Ltd. Shofar.
That's great, because for the longest time I thought it was Megilla, like Megilla Gorilla.
A good Midwestern would say Megilla, because Megilla isn't. Yeah, that's too Spanish.
So smoking a Megilla.
A Megilla cutty.
Okay, there we go.
Megilla Ltd. Shofar. I'm assuming they're throwing the shofar out because of the shape, although that's not technically the shape.
This looks nothing. Yeah, this
like
looks nothing like a ram's horn.
Nothing at all.
This looks like a World War II bomb.
It really does. Remind us of this shape name. I don't remember. Do you remember?
Picadoro.
Is that what it is? A Figueroa?
I believe so.
So it's bigger round on the foot than it is on the other end, where we will be cutting in shortly. It is got 4 wrappers, if I remember counting correctly.
This is wild.
Yes.
It's a crazy looking stick.
So we're going to hear about the wrappers, but there are 4. There's a green wrapper. We'll talk about that. A darker wrapper, a lighter wrapper, and then I think maybe a Maduro
and then like
wrapper.
A New York wrapper, a street wrapper.
Hey.
But I would say, imagine if a cigar said, you know what, I'd like to go hunting. And so it put on camouflage.
There you go.
That's what this thing looks like. It is like camo.
I was thinking of like a Barber pole cigar dressed up as a mummy for Halloween.
It is crazy looking.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I believe it would be a Raymond Page exclusive if you would like to run over and grab yourself one.
Yes.
The cigarpage.com, I believe, is the website.
Yeah.
We are going to do some smelling here. It is very grassy. The green wrapper, I think, might lend itself to that.
Any barn in the Midwest I've ever been in smells like this cigar, and so this is very nostalgic for me. I mean, it's a very sweet, earthy, hay-like Midwest barn cigar smell. I love it.
Comes to a very fine point at the end, so the cut will be interesting as we get to cutting it here.
Probably
shortly.
not going to punch cut this week.
Not easily.
If you could, that would be pretty impressive.
Yeah, Stephen, you're not wrong. It is. This is not just comes to a point on the cap. This is.
Put your eye out point.
Yeah, this cigar
it's a ball point.
This cigar looks really cold. So it's out there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's quite pointed there at the end.
Yeah. In the garage tonight, we got the ambient light going, so I can't even begin. It's dark enough. I can't tell how many caps this thing has, where the cap starts, stops.
It's actually pretty hard to discern because they've got the
4
multiple
different
wrappers
just mashed together.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
They're at the head of the cigar, though.
The band on this puppy is very similar to a normal Megilla, a little bit different. I don't recall seeing the embossed bear on the side of the original.
Look at there.
Yeah, rare cut Habano. It says on the bottom. It's got the longitude and latitude of their factory in Esteli, Nicaragua.
How are you able to read that stuff so well? I'm like squinting. You're trying to figure out what it says, and you're like,
I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. No, I
Oh my gosh.
Regular eye exams, Jason.
And we may have mentioned a little bit before. We've got some fondness for Raymond Page. He's a bit of a new cigar maker, mostly selling direct to consumer through cigarpage.com, not owned by him. But Raymond has some history. He was head of operations at AJ Fernandez for years before he went out and started his own operation. So this is one of his. Instead of doing individual blends, he has gone out and branded every single stick he's made. So each stick has a different brand. And this is the first limited edition that I've seen from this. Steven, have you seen others from?
Not from
Megilla.
No. So the cold draw, it's not as grassy as I thought it might be.
Not compared to how it smells.
Mm-hmm.
No. And honestly, I mean, you're pulling through a very small surface area, and I'm not getting a lot of pronounced flavor notes in general.
Yeah, I totally agree. So what's funny is I draw on it without it lit, I can smell the grass on top of the stick, but it isn't the taste that I am tasting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. It's different.
I'm going to light it up.
Yes.
Here we go.
Get into this thing. And again, this shouldn't take long because the foot is only about the same circumference as a number 2 pencil eraser. So I usually like to toast the foot of my cigar, but on this style, I don't. I just introduce some flame to it and draw in.
So part of the difficulty here is that it looks like they repeated some of that horizontal banding, at least on mine, of the Candela and maybe a little bit of the Maduro again, right near the head of the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that, I wouldn't say it's peeling away, but it's just not tight after cutting.
Loose.
Yeah, it's loose.
Patrick, I was going to ask you to talk about the Candela's wrapper because I think you kind of clued into that. That might be a wrapper that some of our listeners aren't all that familiar with because you don't see it a lot. So talk to us about that in particular.
Yeah, so Candela wrappers, a little more rare. You don't see them often a lot on cigars, and often you see them in barber poles, but they're green in color. And the reason they're green in color is during that curing process, the leaf is cured at a much higher heat during the fermenting, and it gets to a stable level quicker without changing its color. So a lot of that chlorophyll is still left in the leaf. High heat, what you're going to get in flavor then is something very different. You're going to get some of that grassy, herbal tea flavor that, if that is of interest to you or something that's different for you than what you normally smoke, that can be a lot of fun. Definitely, as we hit on before, probably the reason that we're getting some of that grass, earth, barn smell on the pre-light.
Yeah, my first two draws were peppery, and they've chilled now. I mean, just a couple of puffs, and I don't know if that's the Nicaraguan darker stuff, Habano maybe.
Yeah,
it's the
Habano filler, right?
Yeah.
So we have Candelas. That's the green wrap, the green wrapper on this. That's one. We got three more. What else do we got?
Yeah, we got a Connecticut Shade wrapper, which oftentimes Connecticut Shade is grown in Ecuador.
Yeah.
Why is it named Connecticut Shade?
Well, Connecticut.
It's the name of the seed. The seed was from Connecticut.
Came from Connecticut, yeah.
Right.
But oftentimes now grown
in Ecuador.
Right. It's the lighter wrapper here on this particular stick, and that's where you're getting some of those more earthy tones, those kind of, we joked about the barn, kind of those hay notes or creamier a little bit. It helps provide what seems to be sort of the foundation, at least as I've just started. There's kind of that just smooth, creamy, mild foundation that Habano wrapper with the peppers is kind of dancing on top of. Same with the Candela wrapper and that a little more sweeter, herbally sorts of flavors.
I think the primary barber pole on this is the Connecticut that you were just talking about and the Habano. And then I see some horizontal stripes of the Candela and the Maduro.
Yeah. So the lighter of the two dark browns would be your Habano,
Yes.
and then the dark brown then would be your
Maduro. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's not a lot of the Maduro in the Candela. That's
Right.
It's
Yeah.
mostly
But I'm excited though, because they're horizontal. I'm excited to encounter those as we burn into them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be kind of a fun journey.
And I feel like we've said before, but it's worth saying again: a Maduro wrapper is not an origin of leaf, if you will, like the Habano wrapper,
Right, or the
is.
Connecticut, right?
It's a process of curation with the tobacco leaf. It's Maduroing the leaf, if you will, and Maduroed cigars tend to bring about a more cocoa-y, chocolatey type of flavor. It does produce a little bit of a smoothing out of some of those more pronounced, harsher flavors. I know some folks that, swear by a Maduro wrapper 9 times out of 10. I'm sitting beside one of those guys right now.
maybe.
Which is a great, it's a great way to introduce some extra flavor.
Yeah.
Sometimes to a cigar that maybe isn't as bold in its flavoring or as complex. But if you get a Maduroed version, it has a little extra pop to it sometimes. But I do know too, a lot of cigar smokers are sometimes scared or shy away because Maduro wrappers are darker. And as we see on this stick, the Maduro bands jump right off. I mean, they're the darkest of all 4 of the wrappers. But again, dark doesn't necessarily equal strength.
Yeah.
Have you hit the Maduro wrapper yet?
I've smoked the Maduro.
Okay,
band.
we need to talk about it. I'm
right
just getting
into
into
it.
that.
Like the Maduro sits right on top of the Candela's vertical wrapper versus the one that's on the spiral.
I'm just
I'm just starting
where
the
you are,
Maduro.
Ryan. Yeah.
cheers, Jason.
So as the flavors go, I still have that nice, sweet, grassy. I think it's because it's in my mouth and it's just continuing
It's a
staying there.
consistent flavor.
Yeah. And the pepper is not harsh anymore.
Mm-mm.
But if I get it back far enough into my palate, I can still pick them up.
But
And they're sweet. If I get it in the right spot in my mouth, it's nice and sweet.
Yeah, I got some sweetness off that Maduro as
Yeah.
I'm into it. I'm in spots. I'm all the way through the Maduro. On one half, it's a little uneven, so I've still got some Maduro left in that band there. But there's some sweetness that's there. Some very mellow. It's that cocoa-y, chocolatey.
yeah, I'm through it, and the spice is back,
Okay.
and probably more pronounced than it was at the beginning.
Come on,
So
let's go.
It's still on the end of the exhale, if you will, but
Yeah.
it is a little more pronounced. It's a little more bold in its spiciness.
Unlike other cigars we have sampled here, my retro hails aren't quite as, I want the lack of it doesn't burn like other ones have burned before. If I get it too far up into my palate, too far up into my nose, a little sting there. But this one has not done that to me yet. And so it's just a little milder in that. I know this is a medium to medium full cigar, but it's not overwhelming. I mean, it's still got that sweetness to it, still as steady, and the flavors have continued. They have not gone away. The same flavors that we've started with.
Yeah.
Except for the pepper's a little more subdued.
I'll say for me, it's a little more pronounced.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not getting more pepper.
What I am appreciating about this cigar, different than some of the others that we've reviewed and other cigars that I've enjoyed myself, the middle third, which generally tends to kind of, mellow out and become almost void of flavor or very subdued. This has stayed the same. Like the flavor notes have been just straight through, which has made the middle part of the cigar equally as enjoyable as the first third. And I do wonder, Stephen, I think you're onto something. The fact that every draw, I have that Candela wrapper there at the head of the, capping the head of the cigar, if you will. And that is providing a flavor note. So kind of cool. I like it.
Starting to pick up a little bit of like almost a clove kind of flavor.
Well, that's interesting.
Say more.
So sometimes, I think for me, I wasn't getting necessarily that pepper kind of taste, but when you have like a clove in your mouth and you kind of bite down on it, you get that kind of like almost that burning kind of feel on the side of your tongue. And that's kind of what I'm getting right now with this.
Your kids are all older than mine.
True.
What were some of the like the mile marker, like pivotal moments in raising them for you guys? Were there just like moments along the way that you said, "Yep, I'm definitely clearly at a different stage with this child now"?
The first, I don't remember the age, early teenager, and we're heading somewhere, heading out to the grocery store or something, and my daughter's like, "Dad, can we listen to Pearl Jam?" Which for me is one of my go-to bands, right? That'd be like if I had asked my dad, "Can we listen to the Rolling Stones?" That was his band, and when she asked for that, as opposed to me like, "I'm going to put on Pearl Jam and hope you don't turn the radio off," I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have done something right as a parent." Yes. That was awesome.
This is less sweet, but the first thought that popped into my head was, I praised God when my son's voice changed.
Excuse me.
Like the level of high-pitched squeal that little kid could do, and he would squeal like almost dog whistle squeal in the car, and my impulsive murder would just immediately flare, and I would just say, "Lord, let his voice change. Come on, please let his voice." He can't do it anymore. Praise God.
I think what I have enjoyed most with my kids is
sending them off to school.
Please get out of my car.
As they are older and they can do things on their own, and one can drive away, it's like, okay, that is nice. There is something nice about that, The house is quieter, though, when they're not around, and it's okay. And then even I will admit at times, okay, that is different. That's a change for us. But I remember I was telling Allison, we were going to a cross-country meet just last weekend. And, my biological father was absent most of my life. He and I may touch base occasionally. When I was a kid, every other weekend, there was shared custody. And I told her, but his friends, like, they acted like they were other father figures for me. I mean, they looked out for me. I mean, I told her I always...
Your dad's friends.
Yeah. My dad was an awful father. He should have never been a dad. But, good guy, just wasn't in the business of having children. But his friends loved and all that. And so for me, I didn't realize I was carrying that going, I want my kids to see my friends like that these are, you can trust these guys and everything. Unfortunately, I didn't get that kind of friend, but but there is a sense in which they know my friends, and so we have a guy, one of our friends, a shared friend who has a Christmas tree farm.
Yeah.
And my daughter looks out the window a few weeks ago when he's coming over. You all were coming over as well. And she goes, "Hey, Dad, your friend, the tree guy, is here." Doesn't know the names, but somehow loosely knows what they do.
Saints as helpers in our yard.
I will say, though, my kids know Ryan.
He's an ever-present.
Ryan.
I try to be everybody's uncle.
He's every present.
But, that's been something, and it's kind of cool when as your kids grow up, I love my kids more when they're around their friends. Mm-hmm. It's like there's a part of their personality that comes alive, and I think I get to see who they really are. Yeah. When they're around us, they're not going to be goofing on, but when they're with their friends, it's like, oh yeah, And so that's a side to Miles that I don't see a lot.
Yeah.
Miles, at the house by himself is just pissed off all the time. But with his friends,
he's goofy.
A comedic leader.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I actually at a cross-country meet a couple weekends ago. My oldest is in middle school, starting to run cross-country. Your boy's in high school.
You were behind me at the finish line.
Yeah.
As I was getting middle schoolers across the line.
Right, yeah. So later...
Don't collapse here. Keep going.
Which you did a marvelous job at. The rabbit trail on that is Jason's at the finish line. Kids are collapsing in front of the water table, and Jason's like, "I need you to move. I need you to move.
You can die over there, or you cannot die here."
Good job. Stand up.
puke, pee, water that way. Okay.
I walked up behind your boy. He was with Miles was with a couple friends, and
did you hear?
I did.
Miles.
Yeah. So I started that with Miles. When he's like 8.
Oh yeah.
I just started. Because this is what you do with your friends' younger kids. You do stupid things, right? So I did that with Miles. Probably, when I saw him at the office or stopping by your house when he was younger, and I started talking to him in that stupid, "Hey, Miles." And I don't know why. I just always have with him. I'm like, Miles.
Yeah. He'll be 30 years old and you still come, "Hey, Miles."
That's exactly right. So
he wakes up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. God, is he here? Is he in the closet?
So I see him,
Uncle Patty, I'm trying to sleep.
I see him out walking on the course he'd already run. And I was walking up behind him and I was like, he's with his friends. I don't care. I don't care. So, "Hey, Miles." And he turned around and looked at us, but he knew who it was the second he heard my voice. Had a quick chat with him. "How'd you run today?" All that sort of thing. And I have no idea if that embarrassed him or if he didn't care. And I didn't stick around to find out what it. I'm sure his friends were very puzzled why some random 40-year-old guy was talking to him like
No.
like he was Batman. But
here's what they don't tell you with your teenage kids. When you make fun of your kid, you're a hit with their friends. They love you.
Oh, yeah, because they want to make fun of them too.
Miles, his friends think he has the best dad in the world. And I'm like, why can't you?
Well, he does.
Can't you see?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Can't
he
you,
does.
can't you see how amazing I am?
I'm like, goodness gracious.
Your friends can see
I am
it.
full of comedic gold
Your
here.
friends can
You
see
are.
it.
Oh, and they're loving it. My friend, you're not the only friend comes by and they're like,
yeah.
This is great. But what I found out a lot of times is that a lot of these kids, they grow up in a family.
Yeah.
They're not close with the parents' friends. And I'm like, that just is a sad life there.
Yes, it is.
It just is. Yep.
Yeah, I'm in the season now as my daughter is headed off to college. And this happened just the other night. She usually sends us a daily recap, here are the highlights from the day, which is, again, Jason, you talked about seeing some glimpses into, who they really are. This has been a fun glimpse into who she is, the things that she talks about. And her and a friend from school went out to the county fair where they're at and walked around the fair. And so the whole recap was, this is what we did at the fair. And it hit me. I'm like, this is wild. Like, I'm sitting here at home, watching TV, whatever. She is doing her own totally independent thing without my awareness of it until after the fact. And it was definitely a proud dad moment of like, I've helped in some small way to get my kid to a point where she's doing her own thing with her own group of friends without needing me to have any part of that whatsoever. And so now I'm coming into the, kind of that next phase of like, she is becoming more and more independent, making her own choices, doing her own thing, good, bad, otherwise, and I'm just an observer, a bystander to it. It's a little surreal. I've already gone to Stephen a few times to go, hey, you're just an inch or two further down the road.
Because you got
Am I
one out
weird?
of college, married now, right?
She's not out of college because, that would be too normal, but sure.
But she is married.
She is married.
Yeah,
That's true.
So I've gone to Stephen for that,
Yeah.
bit of parental wisdom that I haven't lived into yet.
I appreciate we've made it into, I didn't think we'd ever get there, into we are sagely advice givers. And that's happened.
Like she's receiving it.
She's
asking
receiving
for
it now. Well, mostly from her mom, but yes. But she's looking for that now, which is lovely. Instead of, you guys are stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm going to keep doing stupid things.
You're still in you're stupid. I don't want.
Well, I was saying the other day that I've heard of helicopter parents. I've heard of even Velcro parents.
Oh, I've not heard that.
I've heard Velcro.
That's
Explain that one. I mean, I could
Which is the thing now, which is like they don't want to get up on their kids at all, so they're just they want to be attached to them at all times.
Boy.
We don't have even any of those. I feel like I'm a border collie parent.
Just hurting them.
I'm just nipping over here, nipping over here.
It's not a bad metaphor.
To try to get you to go in the right direction.
Yeah, I like that.
But I want you to have I want you to learn independence, but there's some things as well, like, your brain is not fully developed enough to be able to make
Two sides of your brains haven't grown together
so
yet.
you're not totally there right now.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the boy versus the girl a little bit too?
Girls just get there faster.
Yeah.
But they're still there. It's still there.
I have learned that it's amazing to build a strong relationship with your boy's coach because he will not listen to us. But if his coach were to say, I need you to jump off a bridge tomorrow, he'd be like, I got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you will die.
But Dad.
Got to do it. Coach said.
Coach said.
Coach said. So we're like, okay. Well, the coach, could you tell him he needs to clean his room? This kind of stuff. And the coach will be like, yeah, Miles, you really need to work on da-da-da-da. And Miles will come home. Yeah, I got to go work on this. Coach said.
Dad, coach says we need a vacuum cleaner. Do we have a vacuum cleaner?
That's interesting. I grew up with not a dad around past, late elementary school. And
this took a sad turn fast.
No, I don't mean it to take it, but my mom did do that. My wrestling coach in middle school had conversations with me that I couldn't receive from my mom, but I did receive from him. And he was he didn't hide that from me. Hey man, I had a phone call with your mom today. I remember these conversations. He's like, your mom and I talked today, and hey, listen, we got to talk. And we had numerous conversations about my attitude at home.
Oh yeah,
what I needed to be in the house. Supporting her as a single mom. And I never would have received that from her, but I did receive it from him.
And that's not a boy thing. That's a kid thing.
Yeah.
I mean, as a dad of a daughter, we found, and we found that older, mature woman that my daughter would receive the same thing we said it with the exact same words and the exact same tone. We're the idiots. The other woman's a genius.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a parent thing, to find that person that, that coach, that neighbor, that youth pastor, whatever, find that person who your kid will hear and listen to and respect and build that relationship with them and let them speak into your kid like you would.
As we get to the tail end of this stick, a couple of us have maybe less burnt fingers than I, but it's ending well. It's staying there. The pepper's completely gone for me. I've lost really most of that.
Wow. See,
do you have the
I've got
pepper
the pepper
for
solid
you?
still.
I'm pretty much majority of pepper.
Maybe I've just burnt my pepper taste.
I'm pepper, but I'm also sweeter now. I'm getting a sweetness that's coming back in my final third. And admittedly, I'm behind all of you a little bit, but
I'm almost all pepper right now.
Really?
Yeah,
I definitely.
I'm with you, Jason.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting a lot of now. I wasn't getting as much as you all were throughout the stick, but now it's really pronounced.
I will say in the middle part of the final third, I had to freshen up.
Mm-hmm.
Mine did not get bitter like it did for you, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
It got very spicy, like uncomfortably spicy.
Interesting.
Freshened it up. That smoothed it out. The sweet, kind of the sweet cocoa, the Maduro, came back in line.
Yeah.
But it is pepper is the high note right now.
Interesting.
Stronger than it's been throughout the entirety of the cigar.
Okay.
And so I would agree, though it's for different reasons. It's still finishing very well.
It's finishing very well for me. I enjoyed the whole thing. I didn't dislike any of it.
My wrapper is a little wild. It's breaking apart a little bit.
Same.
It's definitely uneven burn, but at this point, I don't care.
It's almost like it's getting to the end where they didn't quite get the wrapper all the way, or maybe the caps are not quite on as well or something.
Right about where the band was.
Yeah.
I started to notice the fraying once I took the band off.
Yeah.
So I would just be coming into that now, I think, if I'm there. So we'll see. I'm still quite even, actually. It's burning quite nice.
Yeah, yours is looking good.
Now showing from the herding group, a fine example. This is a prime example of the herding group, Jason.
Okay.
Has that been your philosophy of parenting? Like, I've not heard that, but I don't hate that metaphor at all. Of kind of hurting the children of the border collar, border collie.
I'm going in the right direction in a general sense. Yeah.
Or have you had an intentional philosophy? Not that you should.
Well, first off, I don't have the energy level to be a helicopter parent. I wasn't designed with that. anybody that knows me well knows that I have the energy levels of a puppy. So I'm really solid for like, a couple hours and then I just collapse.
10 or 15 minutes is out.
Explains why I can scratch you behind the ears and you just...
And as I get older, I'm like a fainting goat. So but I think there was a lot of, you want to give your kids room to explore, but I'm also not that parent who goes all hands off because they're dumb. They don't know, so I want to be there to be able to go, no, don't go over there. No, don't go over there. But let's just make sure there's a lot of variety you can choose from. I want to make sure you're heading in the right direction. So just keep going north. That's what I need you to do. Keep going north. And we'll kind of, but at times it can feel like, especially if your child, some of this is it's the blessing and the curse of your children becoming more independent, is that when you are that kind of parent, when they don't come back, and check in as much to ask you things.
If you've done your job well, they don't come back.
And you've got to go, okay, that's good, And I think for some parents, that just names deep anxiety in them because they, for whatever reason, just feel like, that means they're not close to their kids anymore or anything like that. But for us, it's one of those things of,
Well, there's the value of having that older parent just a couple steps further down the road from you to go, hey, I'm feeling this way because this situation is what I'm living through. And them to go, yeah, it's all good. It's normal. You're right.
But what I find, Ryan, is that I think women naturally have those kind of conversations. Men don't talk like that as much about what it means to father along different steps, So it's kind of like we get together, we powwow, we have fun. But to kind of checking in like you were doing with Steven is kind of a rare thing. And I don't know why that is with guys. Like, it just seems like there's difficulty in wanting to talk to a peer who's been a little further down the road. But it is nice to occasionally go, I love this line when C.S. Lewis talks about friendship. He says that friendship begins with you looking at somebody else and going, you too? And I'm like, that's just so true to be able to, it's something so liberating to go, you feel like you're not really making progress. Oh my gosh, did we do something wrong? And you have those kind of conversations all the time. And then to talk to somebody who says, oh no, I've been there too. You would think like, oh, that's just such a simple thing to say, but it's so liberating to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for this, being able to check in with you all. I mean, obviously, because you guys are further along the line, you've navigated dating, relationships, teenage. I mean, I've gotten to watch that with all three of you ahead of me. We have found great comfort recently. The thing about having good kids is they're at their most unhinged at home with us.
Yeah.
Right? Like
in their safest spot.
In their safest spot. And we have really, somebody put it in this term for me. He said, they're that way at home because home is the laboratory and the real world, school, that's where they're kind of putting to work what you've done in the lab at home. And so you should expect failed experiments, craziness, spills, breakage, all the, whatever laboratory metaphor you can come up with, that's the home. And so we often wonder like, oh my, we say this to each other. We'll get in bed at night, after a particularly frustrating interaction. I say like, God, I hope she's not like that outside of the house, right? And by and large, from what I can tell, she's not. Right. What's been very comforting though is to go and talk to other parents and see like, yes, they're dealing with the exact same thing. And yet when I see them out at a sporting event, when I see them talking to other adults, I'm like, man, you're actually a pretty pleasant human. Like you're respectful. I love watching them talk to adults in an appropriate, respectful, okay, that's like kind of fruit of the labor. Thank God you're doing the thing because you don't do that at home. I'm getting the one-word answers and the attitude.
You mentioned the laboratory, and what comes to my mind is that scene out of Independence Day when the alien wakes up in the lab and like all the smoke and the professor gets slammed dead against the glass. The alien takes over. That's what I was picturing.
And similarly, the boys are a little more like when Austin Powers wakes up after being frozen, right? He's like over there peeing in the corner for 10 minutes and it's just wildly inappropriate, right?
Yeah, and I would say a PSA to everybody out there. When you see your friends' kids out and you have a good interaction, report that back to your friends.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good word.
Look out for your friends. They need to hear that their kids aren't jackwagons out in the world.
Well, they are jackwagons, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But not always.
Yeah.
Not always.
But they're a cute jackwagon to everybody else. People are like, I had a great interaction. They're funny.
Yes.
This kind of stuff. He smiles a lot. And you're like, I never see that at all.
Does he? I
tell my boy all the time, like, you need to wipe that serial killer look off your face right now. Okay? I need you to mind your face.
Oh my gosh. I had that conversation in the car just the other day. Like, you don't think you look mad, but you look terrible.
Yes. No, I don't. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you look mad.
Well, fellas, we have pretty much reached the end of this journey with the Megilla Shofar.
Limited Shofar.
edition.
About time to blow the horn on this one.
Smoked it down.
It's a good stick.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I did like it.
At this price point, it's a great stick at this price point.
Yeah.
$4.50.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you saw this in a basket in a humidor at $5, which I don't think you would see it in a store, and you're not likely due to the distribution, but if you saw this stick at that price point in a store, I'm probably buying whatever I want to smoke in the cigar shop, and I'd be very likely to put one of these as an add-on to my purchase to take home.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, even if there was larger distribution, you would not see the stick at that price point in the store.
No,
You're right.
No, you wouldn't.
So,
Don't think so. No. No, there's just too much going on just with the multi-wrappers, right? To not upsell it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased, right? Steady, really good all the way through. You know, I really appreciate that the flavors never really dropped off in the middle. They did intensify for me at the end, which again is oftentimes pretty typical of the final third of a cigar. Nice and spicy for me, in a pleasant way.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give it
construction.
Give it a grade.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
I think I would too. I think I'd give it a 7.5. Yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't know what to expect. I don't know that I had an expectation. I was definitely hopeful, again, with the multitude of wrappers, that there would be some uniqueness there, and it brought that.
I think if I was going to, I'm not a fan of the shape, maybe. I don't know if I liked the lack of smoke on the front end.
Because of the burn.
And so if it was just a standard torpedo where it just tapers off at the head and stays flat at the beginning and flat on the foot, I think I'd like it better.
I think technically that Volta is called a pyramid.
Okay.
So when the foot is straight flat, but it tapers at the head, where a torpedo would be tapered at both ends.
Yeah. So
and no bulging in the middle.
Yeah. So I would like it to be a little shaped differently. I just thought it would maybe a little more enjoyable.
You just want to get into the goods.
Yeah.
More quickly.
Maybe make it a smidge longer.
The volume of smoke is a thing that to navigate on that shape. Yeah, I'm about in the same spot. I was I didn't tally anything up, but I'd say 7.5. It definitely kept my interest. Ryan, like you said, the kind of the standard Megilla does not. It is just steady Eddie all the way through. It's not a bad stick. This was different than that. It had changes, and it definitely brought some different flavor that made it pretty enjoyable. It was a surprisingly good smoke. I don't know that I was expecting. I didn't expect what we got out of it.
Yeah. Definitely complex flavor. Definitely just a look of the thing. Kind of draws your eye and says, okay, it piques curiosity for you. I think of all the cigars I've smoked, it's the most potent smell-wise. And that can be good and bad for the smoke. Good because there is that smell that kind of carries through, and it does shape the flavor. And the Candela kind of on the head of the cigar, around the cap, that definitely shapes the flavor of it. Negative is that smell shapes the blade from it of the entire way.
There's a lot of nose on this cigar.
Yes, there really is. And I was a little disappointed as I got to the bottom third. It started to fray quite a bit, actually, around where the band was. I don't want to necessarily put that on then. That could have just been, just transport and all that stuff. So, I'd probably be at about a 7 on this cigar. I really did. I did like it, though. And the consistency throughout, I was quite amazed with. A lot of times you get to the bottom third of a cigar, it's like, okay.
It changes a lot.
Yeah, it changes a lot. And fortunately, if a cigar changes a lot, I've found for me, many times it's not often to its
betterment.
To its betterment. But this one was consistent, except for, I agree with Ryan there. And really towards the end of the bottom third, the pepper picked up. You all talked about that throughout the entire cigar. I never really picked up on the pepper until I got to the end. So 7 was where I would be on the stick.
Yeah, I've been surprised. Sometimes they get a little bitter towards the end sometimes. And I didn't have any of that. I'm down to pinching the nub here, trying to squeeze it out. And I'm not bitter. The pepper is there.
Yeah.
But
Stephen, you didn't pick up on the pepper at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've burnt my taste buds. I don't know.
That's been true the last few cigars that we reviewed. You've not been picking up on the strength of the pepper similarly to the rest of us.
Yeah.
So
I do in some places, but when it finishes with a lot of pepper, I tend to lose it.
Stephen, your defense, after decades of eating fried burritos and all that hot sauce, you probably have burned off a lot of...
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
The palate has been shaped a certain way.
Even at lunch today when I was getting some food, the girl gave me some salsa and I go, I'll need twice that much, please. And then I said, if you want to just dump the rest of it on top of my food, that'll be fine. And I knew the person. She's like, that's not how this works. Fine, pour it in a cup then.
So Patty, as our resident Wikipedian,
okay.
I'm curious. This is a limited edition, and we've talked about limited edition cigars. Do you know any of that particular bit of history with this? Is it is it a short run? Is it a boutique run? Was it made just in a certain year and, there's only so many out in the wild? What do you know? What do you know about it being limited?
I'll give you what I know.
That's all I'm asking for.
I'll give you what I know of Raymond Page. Raymond Page is on this.
Yeah, no, actually, could you tell us what you don't know?
No.
I did not see any indication either from the distributor or from the manufacturer of how limited this was, whether we were ever going to see this again. It definitely is, a special offering. There's no indication whether he'll release this again or whether he won't. However, if his pattern is correct, he does seem to be a little more consumer focused in a lot of ways, right? So what we've seen from Raymond Page is that he's released sticks, he's kind of test ballooned them, right? And I think that's part of the model. Direct to consumer through an online only retailer. I think if I was hazarding a guess, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with sales. If it catches, I think you'll see it again. If people like it and it sticks, I would not be surprised to see this again. I also would not be surprised if sales were, he moved some sticks, and that was that, and that was fine. He seems to be very willing to take an experiment with what he's doing, try something new. If it sticks, great. If it doesn't, you may never see it again.
Well, I hope he takes our suggestion of flipping the Barber pole to Maduro Candela with the accent bands being the shade grown and the
Habano.
The Habano, yeah.
We'll send him an email.
Please do. I think that would be delicious.
He will. Send him an email.
I will. No promise of response, though. An email costs nothing.
That's true.
Hey, we are grateful that you were with us tonight. I'm
Absolutely.
told that there is a lot of kind of boilerplate stuff that I'm supposed to say right now. So rather than me say it, I'm going to kick it over to Patty, who knows all these things, who provides every legal disclaimer that we need to run this podcast. So, Patrick, bring us home.
Listen, as always, if you smoke along with us, if you've smoked this before, we'd love to hear your feedback. We'll have a thread up on on our subreddit. That's reddit.com/r/burnt offerings. We'd love to hear what you think. And if you had a similar experience, we'd also love to hear what you think about parenting, fatherhood. Are you a border collie or are you a piece of Velcro? Good God, that moth was in my eye. Sorry.
I don't know what I don't know what that kind of parenting is. Good God, that moth's in my eye. But you know what, mate?
It's a moth to a flame.
May you always have a lit cigar in your hand and no moth in your eye. We love you, friends.
We love you.
Have a good one.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Burnt Offerings. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and let us know what you thought of the show.